Hi, it's Peter Chapman from SKUFood, and you might recognize this little thing that I'm holding in my hands as Gumby. And one of the things that maybe they never thought about or didn't even consider when they invented Gumby back in the 50s was that his green color is the same color as a green screen in 2020. So he doesn't show up as green, he kind of shows up as white here today. But the reason I'm holding Gumby, for those of you who do know what Gumby is that Gumby for me was always sort of a symbol of flexibility because he was pliable and he was made out of clay originally, but you could bend him and twist him and he could do all kinds of crazy things with and be flexible. And that for me was a symbol of flexibility. But one of the things that I also remember about Gumby is that I was talking with one of my clients one time, and apparently they might have been born quite a few years after me. So I was talking about their relationship with a customer, and I said, you're really going to have to be like Gumby here. You're really going to have to exhibit those qualities. And I was saying you need to be flexible, but they didn't understand because they had never even heard of Gumby because they were born in a different generation, and Gumby was not even something that they remembered. And I wasn't born in the 50s. No, I wasn't. But I was around in the 80s, and Gumby kind of had a bit of a resurgence in the 80s, and apparently this person wasn't around then. So anyway, my point is, when you're talking about things, always make sure that you're using language and terms that the other person is going to understand. So when you're talking to your retail customers about service level and some important things like that, make sure you're using terms that they understand, not something that they're not going to understand. So if your category manager is, say, in their 20s, you might not want to use the term Gumby because they may not understand it. So think about that. Always make sure you understand the terms that they're going to use. And speaking of flexibility, and why I started talking about Gumby is, originally this week we were going to talk about demos and how you can find some creative options to demos given the current situation and trying to be successful in the current environment that we're operating in. But we've changed our schedule around in September. So this week I'm going to talk about service level, and on September 16th, I'm going to talk about demos. And the reason we changed that was because we're really excited to have Meg Svetskova from Sampler, who's going to join us on September 16th. And this is a really innovative option to the traditional in-store demos. And I did reference it a couple times on our Recipes for Success, and I reached out to Sampler and they said, yes, we'd love to come along and talk about our program and what we do. And they've also introduced a new e-commerce solution as well. So she's going to talk about that. So join Meg and I on September 16th for our Recipes for Success on how to replace in-store demos because we can't do them right now because of different regulations in the stores. And with SKUFood being flexible, like Gumby, then we're going to do our session this week on service level and how important that is to your customers, what you should be doing about it in your business, and also how to build your relationship with your customers based on delivering good service level. So we really hope to see you at our SKUFood Recipes for Success this week, Wednesday, September 2nd, where we're going to talk about service level and take a deep dive on that. And maybe I'll bring Gumby along and we'll figure out how to get him up on the screen so he's actually green instead of white like the green screen makes him. We look forward to seeing you then.